Signed by God, my life is signed by God. To my every prayer, He gives a nod. My life today is signed by God. Signed by God, my life is signed by God. To my every prayer, He gives a nod. My life today is signed by God. Signed by God, my life is signed by God. To my every prayer, He gives a nod. My life today is signed by God. Signed by God, my life is signed by God. To my every prayer, He gives a nod. My life today is signed by God.
Good morning, friends. Good morning, and welcome to our Sunday morning celebrations. Indeed, our lives is signed by God. And so this morning, on this balmy Sunday morning here in beautiful Kingston, Jamaica, I'd like to invite you to join me in the opening affirmative prayer as we begin all things here at the center with God, signed by God. So as we tune into this moment, recognizing that one presence and power, God, operating in, through, and as each one of us, I am knowing that that presence conducts every activity in this morning's celebration. So I know for each person who has come to join us in consciousness here in the sanctuary and those tuned into this service on the World Wide Web, we open ourselves up to the message that is to be delivered, to every idea exchanged, every activity undertaken. We know that all that transpires here today in this morning's celebration that truly moves us onwards and upward on this path of enlightenment and involvement. And so I know that we allow ourselves to now be an open channel through which Spirit works. I give thanks for each other. I give thanks for our speaker, Rev John, our pastor, knowing that the message to come is one of encouragement and indeed uplifting and inspiring and enlightening. So we simply tune into this moment and be fully present here and now in this activity which we call a Sunday morning celebration. I give thanks for each other, and I release this word to that law of mine that has already said yes. Thank you, God, that this is so now, and so it is. And this morning, I'm really thrilled on our first and fourth Sunday that we have our youth participating in the morning service. And so today, I'd like to invite Miss Abigail Alcock, who will be doing our inspirational reading and the lighting of the youth candle and the mission song. Abigail, over to you.
Hi. This is the inspirational reading. The Law of Practice, taken from Around the Year with Emmett Fox. Practice makes perfect. This familiar proverb embodies one of the great human laws of nature, and, being a law, it is never broken under any circumstance. There is simply no achievement without practice, and the more practice provided it is done intelligently, the greater will the proficiency be, and the sooner will it be attained. True, it is in every conceivable branch of human endeavor. Practice is the pride of efficiency and proficiency. In metaphysics, the effects of the law are particularly striking. Thought control is entirely a matter of intelligent practice, and true religion may well be summed up as the practice of the presence of God. James 1 verse 22. Be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only. James 1 verse 22. We will now light the candle for all the children of the world.
You need to light it from the side. I think it's the side.
Right.
Now the Temple of Light mission song.
Can we bless the children?
Oh, right. I bless the children on behalf. I bless the. Oh, right. Yes, sorry. Okay. We love you. We bless. We salute the Christ in you. We see you as a shining light onto this world. God is blessing you now, and so it is. Okay. Yes, now the next song. The temple of light, the temple of light, the temple of light. We are a people with a mission, one with spirit, a mission to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, to love and liberate anyone who comes into contact with us anytime, night or day. The temple of light, the temple of light, the temple of light. We are a people with a vision, one with spirit, one a mission to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, to love and liberate anyone who comes into contact with us anytime, night or day. Yay!
Thank you, Abigail. Awesome work, awesome. Ooh, so after that energetic singing of our mission song, friends, please join me in the prayer of our center. That's on the flyer. And please stand. Together, the Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living is a sacred field embodying our spiritual community from which the Christ, peace, love, and joy emanate. To touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, and to liberate anyone who comes into contact with it in any way. The light of the Christ illumines us, our center, and our environment. Our spiritual community is filled with and surrounded by the presence of God and is growing from strength to strength. The power of God expands our consciousness of truth, guiding us ceaselessly along the paths of wisdom, spiritual growth, unfoldment, and attainment. We are blessed, and to God be the honor and the glory forever. And so it is. Please remain standing for our praise song. A little more oil in my lamp on page 2 of your program and on screen for those who are watching. A little more oil in my lamp, keep it burning. A little more oil in my lamp, I pray. A little more oil in my lamp to keep it burning. Keep it burning till the break of day. A little more love
love in my heart to keep me growing. A little more love in my heart, I pray. A little more love in my heart to keep me growing. Keep me growing through the night and day. A little more peace in the world to keep it turning. A little more peace in the world, I pray. A little more peace in the world, keep it turning. Keep it turning through the night and day.
Thank you. Friends, please be seated. And now please join me for this morning's announcements. Our flowers this morning, and they're awesome, they're just calling out to us, were done by Mrs. Faye Suku, and you will agree they are beautiful. Let us give her a round of applause. Awesome. And we'd like to welcome any first-time guests worshiping with us on this first Sunday in March. Is there anyone in the sanctuary this morning? Please stand, and if not, welcome to those of you joining us for the first time online as well. We trust you will come again and again to share your consciousness with us. Friends, we continue to live stream every Sunday at 9 a.m. and on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. The recording is also available later on YouTube. And so the schedule for this week's activities, our Wisdom Circle, resumes this morning immediately following our Sunday morning celebration. So please join us in this informative exploration of the writings of our New Thought leaders. And this morning, we'll be exploring Tom Johnson's Lessons from the Source. So stay back for a few minutes after service and join Angela and a group of us in this informative wisdom circle. Quiet moments in the garden. Friends, Rev John Scott on Mondays, now Wednesdays and Fridays as well at 6 a.m. has an enriching and refreshing, insightful early morning start to your day. So make it a date and join our pastor, Reverend John, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning at 6 a.m. for quiet moment in the garden. And on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. on Facebook and on our Zoom platform, we have our spiritual enrichment services. And this week, our presenter is practitioner Sandra Cooper, and the link is sent out from our mailing list, and she's talking on the topic, navigating life's moving pieces and shifting parts. That's something you want to tune into on Tuesday at 6 p.m. Prayer Power, that continues. It's an hour of communion on Thursday evening at 6 p.m., and the link is sent out every Thursday morning from our mailing list. So if you want to be on that and join a group of committed souls, which is facilitated by Reverend Sonia Davidson, please join us or let us know that you want to be a part of Prayer Power, 6 p.m. on Thursdays. And now something exciting is happening here at the temple. Guess what? Classes begin once more on Tuesday. Our regular schedule of classes is back. And this month, on March 8th, this is tomorrow, at 7 p.m. on Zoom, on Tuesday, sorry, not tomorrow, Monday, but tomorrow, Tuesday, with Reverend Michael Record, and he's exploring change your thinking, change your life. And you know, here in our movement, we're always using this term, but we want to get behind what exactly it means. So please join Reverend Michael starting on Tuesday, March 8th at 7 p.m. for Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. And then on Thursday, March 10th at 11 a.m., Reverend John Scott has a face-to-face class titled Spiritual Principles and Practices And that's right here at the center on Thursday mornings at 11 a.m. And also on Thursday evening at 7, beginning on March 10th, Reverend Sonia Davidson and Reverend Ann Shand will lead a Zoom class titled Leave Your Nets. So we have some interesting classes lined up for you to participate in, and you have a choice of face-to-face and online. And friends, the contribution for classes is $1,200 or $10 for registered members, and $1,600 or $12 for other friends and persons who are interested in joining us. So see you at one or all of these classes. We continue to respond to all your requests for prayer, and a practitioner is available to pray with you immediately following our service every Sunday. On duty this morning is practitioner Courtney Johnson, and the number to call is 876-289-0907. And if you would like to speak with a minister from Monday to Friday, from 8 a.m. to 12 midnight, you can also call the same number, 876-289-0907. And if you are willing to financially support our ministry, then kindly visit our donate page at donate.templeoflightcsl.org, which has our banking details. Thank you for your generosity and for helping us to be a beacon of light in the world. This concludes the announcements, and please join us in the singing of our first hymn selection, Dear Lord and Father of Mankind. Words are in your program, and if you're in the sanctuary, and it's on screen for those watching.
Dear Lord and Father of mankind, forgive our foolish ways. Reclothe us in our rightful mind, till in our lives thy truth we find, and with new reverence praise. Break through the walls of our desire, thy coolness and thy balm. Within our consciousness inspire, speak through the earthquake, wind and fire. O still small voice of God, drop thy still dews of quietness, till our one striving cease. Take from our souls the strain and stress, till we with ordered lives express the beauty of thy peace.
Thank you. Please be seated. And now this morning, we'll be treated to an encouragement by our pastor, Rev John Scott, who always gives us something to chew on and provides us with an assignment which we all have to faithfully do. But we know that his talks inspire, they uplift, and they prosper and bless. And so this morning, to bring the encouragement, which is called Resist Not Evil, help me welcome to the podium our pastor, our friend, our beloved, Reverend John Scott.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, worldwide spiritual family.
Good morning.
A joy to add my own words of welcome, and it's funny Jen said something to chew on, because my assignment today actually has to do with food, but I'll get to that later. But I want you to chew on this as we begin this morning. Is it possible to be for something and against nothing? Can you stand for something rather than be against anything? And I've been pondering this because a dear friend of mine, just a beautiful person, said to me, Reverend John, I've been thinking out, I'm so worried about the crime in Jamaica and the escalating war and terrorism in the world, and what she's pregnant. And she said, what kind of world are we bringing this baby into? Well, that's a big question. What kind of world are we bringing this precious bundle into? And so I said, I believe that all those souls choosing to come to the planet at this time are coming to help us make the world a place that works for all. So she said, oh, so they're coming to take a stand against evil. I said, no, they're coming to take a stand for peace. They're coming to take a stand for the light. They're coming to take a stand for goodness. They're coming to take a stand for racial tolerance, a stand for justice, a stand for beauty, a stand for love. And in my view, it is possible to stand for these things without being against anyone or anything. You know, Ernest Holmes, who gave the world this great teaching known as the science of mind and spirit, writes, and I quote, "Find me one person who is for something and against nothing, who is redeemed enough not to condemn others out of the burden of his soul, and I will find another Savior, another Jesus, and another exalted human being. Find me just one, and I will have found an exalted human being." And so, my friends, I want to talk to you this morning with a message given to us by Jesus the Way Shower, Yeshua Bar Joseph, called by many names, but the Way Shower. And Jesus, you know, brought us the new commandment to love one another. So when I was talking with my friend who asked the question about what kind of world is this baby coming into, I led her in a visualization, which I adapted from one I learned from Mrs. Elizabeth Terry, who is a master coach and teacher of neurolinguistic programming. She's a Temple member, and she's the chair of our strategic planning implementation program. And in our spiritual prosperity adventure, which we are currently enjoying here at the Temple, online on Wednesday evenings, I think we're at class 9 of 12, Liz led us in this visualization where she had us imagine that we were painting a canvas with our vision of our dearest dreams. And so with my girlfriend who is expecting and who wanted to know what kind of world this baby was coming into, I had her imagine that she was a master painter, a master artist, and paint her vision of a world that works for all. Paint her vision of the world that her baby is coming in to enjoy and to take a stand for peace, for love, for beauty, for truth, and for goodness. And so I want to remind you, as I reminded her, of the master teacher's words in Matthew chapter 5, verses 38 to 42. Listen up, because Jesus seems to be speaking across the centuries to all the disenchanted, worried, frustrated, and frightened people of our time. And in this lesson, he gives us the answer to that question. What kind of world are we bringing our children into? But let me share the words from Matthew with you. The way Yeshua said, and I quote, "Ye have heard that it was said, an eye for an eye, and a tooth for a tooth. But I say unto you, resist not him that is evil, but whosoever smiteth thee on the right cheek, turn to him the other also. And if any man would go to law with thee and take away thy coat, let him have thy cloak also. And whosoever shall compel thee to go 1 mile, go with him 2. Give to him that asketh thee, and from him that would borrow of thee, turn not thou away." So resist not evil. Now this is an amazing formula for how to handle the situations that are concerning us as a human race right now in this 21st century. And I would like everyone, the leaders of government all around the world, and those people who are still in the old paradigm of an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, to really contemplate this passage from Matthew, because it has the secret to the turnaround for planet Earth and the people of this generation and future generations. You know, I have a friend who lives abroad, and he also called with this concern about the state of war, the storm clouds of war gathering over Eastern Europe. And I shared with him the same thing, that we need to take a stand for peace. Now, you can't take a stand for peace, speak words of peace when you come to Sunday morning service, sing hymns of peace, dear Lord and Father of mankind, forgive our foolish ways, and reclothe us in our rightful mind, till in our lives thy peace we find. You can't sing that and say that and pray that from your heart, drive through the gates of the temple, and curse off somebody who bad drive you on the road. Wham, you have just wiped out all of that prayer that you have done. Because we have to walk the talk. And if you're taking a stand for peace, then, my friends, you have to be peace in action. My friend said, John, you can hide your head in the sand if you want, you see, but I'm a realist. People who want to focus on what's wrong always say, I'm a realist. I'm a realist too. And he said, I was just listening to the news as I was having dinner, and I can tell you the world is in a state. So I said, you were eating your broccoli, and instead of a nice cheese sauce on it, you were imbibing the latest news of war and inhumanity and atrocities across the globe. I prefer the cheese sauce on my broccoli personally. He said, yeah, I know. Science of mind again. I said, science of mind and spirit every day, not just again today. We have to live it if we really want to see a difference. You cannot be ingesting with your meal negative news and expect to have any other kind of experience. And so my assignment has to do with your chewing on this. I want you to have at least one sit-down meal with family or friends this week. Choose your nicest crockery, your nicest cutlery, set your table as prettily as you can, put fruits and flowers in the middle of it, do a centerpiece that's attractive, and announce to the family or friends or both that this is a celebratory meal. And of course, they're going to say, celebrating? What we're celebrating is nobody's birthday. And you can then say, we are celebrating the health, happiness, safety, love, and togetherness we share as a family. This meal is a celebration of the health, happiness, safety, love, and togetherness that we share as a family. And if you're seeking the ideal partner, then set a place at the table for him or her, the unseen guest, and say, as you sit down, this place is a place setting for my ideal partner as I celebrate what? The health, happiness, safety, love, and togetherness that I share with those that I love. And gentlemen, ladies too, if you're not usually the one that does the cooking, cook this meal. And if you can't go up to that, order it in. But you must have something to do with serving it. Because you see, friends, we dish out a lot of stuff to people along life's path. And this meal is going to be symbolic of the fact that you are dishing out what you want people to digest and to grow from and to learn from and to celebrate in a world that truly works for all. So, a meal this week. Chewing on the experiences that you want to find, the experiences that you want to have, the experiences that you yearn for the people of planet Earth. And that has to begin. We sing, yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me. It has to begin with you, my friends. You know, the old Mosaic law of an eye for an eye, which Jesus mentions in that passage in Matthew, that law was designed to try and maintain law and order and discipline among a primitive group of nomadic people who were practically ungovernable. Poor Moses, sorry for him. Unfortunately, this old form of justice still seems to prevail in the race consciousness. And as somebody once said, if we adhere to that rule, an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth, we would soon all be blind and toothless. But it is an understandable human response. Jesus was teaching us then that the only way to get even with someone who has wronged you is to bless and forgive them. Wow. You see, when you hold the hot coals of resentment and anger and hatred, who gets in bun? You are getting burnt. So for God's sake, let go of the coals. And you know, friends, turning the other cheek does not mean that you have to be a doormat or to allow other people to abuse you and to take advantage of you. It doesn't mean that. I'm going to tell you what turning the other cheek really means. It means to look at the situation from another angle. Look at the situation from the side of your divine nature. So we respond one time from the side of us that is human and angry and resentful and unforgiving. Turn the other cheek and look at it from the side that is divine, that is loving, that is light, that is joyous, that is full of the goodness of God. That is what it means to turn the other cheek. It means that you are responding as a radiating center of God's love and light, rather than a purveyor of anger and resentment and shame. You know, a caller to a radio talk show recently pointed out that the number of people engaged in criminal activity in Jamaica is small in comparison to the 3.5 million well-thinking, well-meaning, honest, noble, and talented inhabitants of our beautiful island. And add to this an equal number of Jamaicans in the diaspora, another 3.5 million, and you will see that the number of people who have lost their way, who have forgotten the truth of their divinity, is relatively small. So why do we allow the minority to influence our thinking and our way of being? It was broad daylight. I had some people come to visit my home a couple of days ago, and as we were going inside, they said, you're leaving the front door open? I thought to myself, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Yes. Yes, I'm leaving it open. And all who are in search of the light can find it right there. You know, I've shared with our musical director that I want to have written on a marble slab that wonderful welcome that Ernest Holmes, our founding member, the founder of Science of Mind, has in the front of the textbook, which says the door is open and there is wine on the table and it's cool inside. Come and sit and refresh yourselves. That is how I want my home to be regarded, not as a fortress to keep people out, but a place of welcome to people of kindred spirit, people who are purveyors of love and beauty and kindness. And that's the energy that I attract into where I live. Anybody who enters my home is an angel of peace and beauty. My declaration. So that, you know, Reverend Emma said, if you continue to look, Reverend Emma, our founding minister of the Temple of Light, she said, if you look at, keep on seeing crime, then you are being a part of it. Because, who was it? It was the long-time comedian who said, what you see is what you get. You attract to you what you are focusing on, my friends. Focus on love and you set up a vibration of love that attracts more love to you. Focus on resentment and you will attract more things to make you resentful. That's a law. It's a universal law. And Abigail read beautifully that reading from Emmett Fox about practice making perfect. Actually, it should say, perfect practice makes perfect. Because whatever you practice, you perfect. And it is really important that we practice seeing the good that we want to experience in our lives and in our affairs. And so remember that although you may not be able to change or control others, you can decide the level of consciousness from which you will deal with people and react to them. Those of us on the side of good are in the majority. Enough away. Enough of us. Know with me that no matter what the banner headlines are, you do not have to worry or be anxious because you can meet every experience on the level of your divinity. Let me repeat that. You can and must meet every experience on the level of your divinity, on the level of your higher consciousness that knows that God is the only presence and the only power. And there is nothing but God to experience and to express. And when you live in that consciousness, when you spend time visualizing and painting a picture in your mind of a world so full of the beauty and the color of your most precious and your most highest dreams and your dearest and deepest values, that is the world that you are creating, and that is the world that you are preparing for unborn generations of human beings who are coming to celebrate that with us and to teach us to be in the world but not of it, to live from the level of our divinity so that our every thought or every word or every deed is a hymn of praise and a psalm of thanksgiving that glorifies God. And that's our only reason for being here. It is to glorify the creator of all good. And so, my friends, as you do your celebratory meal this week, affirm that this is the celebration of what you want in your life, what you want for your children and your grandchildren and for the world, because that is really what it's all about. You know, that passage by Jesus when he says, and for one who would have you carry the load for a mile, you know what that comes from? It comes from the old Roman law. It was a despotic arrangement where the Roman soldiers were by law, allowed to compel Roman citizens to carry their load, their armor, their equipment, and all of the stuff that they carried to and from war. They could command any citizen to carry it for a mile. And Jesus, the master psychologist, gave the formula that says, you can lift yourself above the consciousness of being an enslaved person. You see, when you're enslaved, you have to do something, and you do it with resentment and anger and deep, deep, deep sorrow. And he said, but if you offer to go the extra mile, what you're doing is you are changing the energy that is being expressed from one of being enslaved to one who is doing it of their own free will and having fun and pleasure doing it. And it reminded me of a time when I was about 14 at high school. And in the old days, in the 50s, Jamaican high schools were modeled after the English public school system. And so at my high school, the young boys in fourth form, the 14-year-olds, were conscripted like the Roman soldiers, not to carry a load, but to clean the cadet boots of the sixth form boys. And everybody had what was called their grub, you know. So one Saturday, I was a grub for a sixth form boy, and I went into the prefect's lounge. They had their own lounge, just like the masters. And I said, gentlemen, good morning. Please excuse me, but I'm cleaning cadet boots today. Who would like their boots cleaned? And they said, what you said, Scott? I said, I'm going to clean everybody's shoes today. I'm in the shoe cleaning mode. And I cleaned everybody's, burnished them, 1 hour spit and polish on the toe of the cadet boot with a piece of cotton going round and around till you could see your face in them. Of course, you know what happened. I was then exempt for the rest of the year from cleaning anybody's shoes. They would say, I need a grub to clean my shoes, but not Scott. He has done his duty already. So I went from being a grub to being the hero of the prefect's room. And then I would, take the occasional cigarette in there and sell them. It paid all kinds of dividends, but I won't. That's another encouragement. No, it's not an encouragement, Abigail. It's
Don't do it.
stories of how boys survived in boarding schools. So, my friends, Jesus admonishes the people to assume their freedom, the energy of being free, by volunteering to do that which was formerly regarded as a disgrace and a burden and something to be resented. I see it sometimes in shops when people are doing their job because they have to, it's just a paycheck, and there's no joy, And so they say, have a nice day, and it's 6:30 in the evening or 7 o'clock. They've done a long time, but of course it's been learned by rote, and they just do it because they're told they have to. And you can transmute that energy by saying, boy, you had a long day, you soon get to go home, and thank you so much. Stay safe and stay beautiful, or stay safe and stay wonderful. And they look at you as if to say, wow. It then becomes another kind of energy that you're sharing, because you have turned the other cheek. You are dealing with the situation from the point of view and the standpoint of your divinity. So when you follow Jesus' advice and go that extra mile, you are enjoying life as a free person who can choose how you are going to relate to people and how you are going to share your divinity while honoring theirs. Finally, my friends, when Jesus says, give to him that asketh thee, and from him that would borrow of thee, turn not thou away, quote unquote, he is not advocating that you give to everybody who asks you for a handout. he is actually giving another lesson in non-resistance. Let's be honest. The human side of us very often resents the intrusion of him that asketh. I know for me, I can feel my monkey stand up because my car has just been cleaned, the windshield is spotless, and somebody comes and puts a dirty sponge, making the gesture of beginning to clean it. And it's so easy just to forget everything about the piece that we've been talking about and blast him or her. But no, turn the other cheek. Look at it from the standpoint of your divinity. And so I would say, this youngster has been in the sun all day, and whatever he gets from a motorist or she gets from a motorist may make the difference between something to eat this evening or going to bed hungry. And it just changes the energy right away. And so I would say, no, thank you, and hand them any change that I have without them having to clean the windshield. So friends, don't allow your anger, outrage, and fear to get the best of you. When you're dealing with the problem at the level of consciousness of the person who is irritating you, you are vibrating at their level. So next time you're listening to the news, both local here in Jamaica and the news of what's happening overseas, resist not evil. Be, as our inspirational reading encouraged us this morning, to be a doer of the word and not just a hearer. We have to act the part, walk the talk, and make certain that our actions, our thoughts, in every moment are in congruence with what we say we believe. Holmes said Emmett Fox said in that reading that Abigail shared, there is simply no achievement without practice, and the more practice, provided it is done intelligently, the greater will the proficiency be, and the sooner will it be attained. It is true in every conceivable branch of human endeavor. Practice is the price of proficiency. Let us say it together. I practice peace. Together. I practice peace. I practice love.
I practice love.
I stand for peace.
I stand for peace.
I stand for love.
I stand for love.
I am a purveyor of the light.
I am a purveyor of the light.
My friends, resist not evil. Instead, follow the admonition in James 1, verse 22. Be ye doers of the word and not hearers only. Namaste.
Thank you, Reverend John. Friends, did I tell you? Something to chew on. He says, if you are taking a stand for peace, then you have to be peace. You must live it if you want to make a difference. He says, celebrating the health, happiness, and safety, and love and togetherness that we share as a family. Remember, that is what we will do in our assignment this week. And as we sit to have this meal, let us remember to make that affirmative statement. And always, remember, we're turning the other cheek. It says, look at the situation from another angle and look from the side that is divine, filled with goodness, the goodness of God. And finally, he also said, you can and must meet every experience on the level of your divinity. My friends, we have to walk this talk because practice makes perfect. Thank you, Reverend John. Let's give him another round of applause. And now, as a special treat, I'm going to invite Reverend John to come back to the podium for the March birthday blessings. So those born in March, please stand.
Oh, March birthday standing. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear loved ones. Happy birthday to you. God is blessing you. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you now. God is blessing you now. Happy Earth Day to you. And so as we celebrate those who were incarnated in the month of March, we know that they come as purveyors of peace, as angels of love and light, to make this a world that truly works for all. Each of them turns the other cheek, looking at life from the point of view of their divinity. And I know that from the center of their being to the circumference of their conscious awareness, these loved ones live, move, and manifest their lives in a victorious state of fulfillment to the honor and glory of God. This is the truth. We are so grateful that they walk the earth with us at this time. Glory be to God that this is so. And so it is. And in this consciousness, my friends, please help me welcome for our musical item our beautiful Reverend Dr. Sonia Davidson. Reverend Sonia, how beautiful. Give her another round of applause. And so we have a tiding of peace in our prayer of Jamaica. Would you stand and say it with me? It's on a flyer in your program and also on the screen. Together. The radiant light of God's love is now flowing through us and from us to everything and everyone it touches. The eternal light of God's love now completely fills, covers, and surrounds our island Jamaica. The glowing intensity of the light of God's love now interpenetrates and awakens within the hearts and minds of our countrymen and women the truths of life which set free. The light of God's love is growing and glowing in intensity in the hearts and minds of mankind everywhere. Love, health, harmony, goodwill, peace, uprightness, integrity, joy, prosperity, kindness, and our oneness under God are now established. And so it is. And would you just remain standing for our hymn, New Age Vision, on page 3 of your program and on the screen. Mine eyes have seen the coming of an age that is to be, when from every limitation shall the Son of Man be free. For the age is rich in promise, and my soul has eyes to see. God's truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. God's truth is marching on. My soul has seen the coming of a race from sorrow free, in an age of faith and justice, truth and love and liberty. And I sing of love's great triumph in that year of jubilee. God's truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. God's truth is marching on. My soul has seen the glory of a great reality, for it sees the ever-present Christ within both you and me. And I know that God's kingdom is and shall forever be. God's truth is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. God's truth is marching on. Takes me back to Jamaica College again at age 14. We used to sing, glory, glory, hallelujah, teacher lick me with the ruler. So will you take your love offerings in your hands, and if you're at home and about to press the donate.templeoflight.csl.org, please put your hand on your heart and say with us, lovingly I give, joyfully I receive, be thou fruitful, increase and multiply. Bless, prosper, and enrich everyone whom you touch, and replenish all of my financial affairs. So be it. Thank you, Father. And so it is. And so with these offerings of consciousness, of love, of laughter, of light, of music, of words of wisdom, we bless the consciousness of giving that is in every heart on this call this morning in this celebration. And we know that by that law which says, as a man soweth, so shall he reap, each one of us reaps abundantly from this infinite storehouse of good which has been bestowed upon us by the Creator of all things. And we look at life from the standpoint of our divinity as we say, thank you, God. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, that this is now so. And so it is. And let us sing, Yes, There Is Peace. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
that was meant to be, with God as our power, family all are we. Yes, we walk with each other in perfect harmony. Yes, peace begins with me. Yes, this is the moment now. With every step I take, yes, this is my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it begins with me.
My friends, I'll be in the garden tomorrow morning at 6 for you. Join me there. And on Tuesday evening for a spiritual mind healing service. And again on Wednesday morning at 6. And then on Tuesday evening class as well. Sign up and learn how to change your thinking and change your life. This Center for Spiritual Living is such a blessing and a light in the world. Join us on Thursday morning for another class, or on Thursday evening and on Thursday evening for prayer power and for class at 7. Just so much happening to keep us on the path so that we can approach life from the standpoint of our divinity and allow the peace that was meant to be to exude from the center of our consciousness, to touch, to heal, to bless, to prosper, and to liberate everyone upon the face of planet Earth. There are no more dark places because we are the light. This is the truth. We celebrate it and give thanks that it is so.
And so it is.
A peace that was meant to be with God as our peace eternally. Yes, there is peace on earth, and yes, it is.